Good afternoon, or good evening, depending on what time this program is showing. My name is Daryl Robert Chung, and I have what I consider the invaluable privilege of sitting next to what I consider one of Tucson's true treasures, Betty Tatalajski, Reverend Betty Tatalajski, the founder of the Temple of Universality here in Tucson. And when we sit here during these shows, I have the privilege of asking and listening to what she has to say. And I want to say, I was in China in 1976 when the Chinese were wearing blue coats, blue pants, men and women. I've been on the Great Wall of China with a camel before anybody else was led over there. I've been in Machu Picchu. I have seen many of the great wonders of the world, and I have never seen anything like Reverend Betty Tatalajski or heard her stories. So what are we going to talk about today?
Well, hello, friends. It's really good to be with you again. And Daryl, just asked me, what do you think we're going to talk about today? And I said, well, it's a word that we really don't like, and we have asked people not to even think about it, speak of it, for so many years, because spiritualists don't do this. Metaphysical people tend to shy away, and certainly I did. But the word is possession. So when I told him the word we're speaking on tonight or today is possession, it seems like he has stories too. He just
I was shocked when she said it.
yeah, it's just like me. We don't talk about it a lot,
That's right.
but there are so many people who are walking around, or many of them in safe havens, sort of like hospitals and so forth, who have these entities, they're people who lived here and made transition into spirit, but because of their fear, their anger, their worry, and the fact that when you make transition, you go exactly into the frequency that you are in. So it's another thing that we should, we can be grateful for hospice, because people in hospice are loving and caring and trying to soothe your mind and your body, and you have opportunity to move into a nice frequency here, and I really recommend that too. I think I've heard over the past getting well with God or something before you go over. Well, however you say it, it's really a good idea. But at the temple, we want people to wake up before they die or before they go into that transitory state, before they make complete transition. And so I have been exposed to, is that how you would say it, exposed to situations where people have been have drawn to them through the law of attraction, because that law is always in action. The law of attraction is always in action. And so if you find yourself worried and hateful and whatever, look around at the people you're with. You can't blame them, but you can walk away and learn a little meditation, be still and know, like Jesus said. Move into a higher frequency, and you'll find yourself surrounded by people with more awareness and probably less hate in their lives. So we thought we would talk about that for a while. And do remember about the law of attraction. If you don't want to be hateful, you do want to be grateful. Well, be around grateful folks, because we say it might wear off on you. No, it's simply the law of attraction, as a man thinks it is. So I was thinking about this, and a hospital that I visited in the mountains of Korea, and it's a beautiful hospital. Besides having all the latest gadgets and tools and so forth, and wonderful staff, they also have available to them some mediums because they understand and work closely with the spirit world. Now, the doctors, the nurses, the staff there are very, what I would consider elevated souls, very spiritual, highly evolved people, but they know that everybody's not. So, and so it's really wonderful to have this on staff. So there's a young woman whose mother, who lived in Korea, but her mother lived here in the States. Her mother was not an elderly person, and she was in good health until all of a sudden, she couldn't sleep, could not sleep at all, okay? Because she had this voice telling her constantly, kill yourself. Well, you can hardly sleep, and you wonder, now, most psychologists would say that this is a part of you, and tell yourself to shut up, but it was not she who was saying, kill yourself, but she certainly couldn't, it never dawned on her that it could be somebody else. It was sort of like she had swallowed a record machine, and it wouldn't shut up. A bad record. Kill yourself, kill yourself. She lost weight. This entity did not shut up at night. So she, of course, did not want to kill herself. She had a lot of integrity herself, but her health was just failing terribly. So she told her daughter, of course, and the daughter brought her to Korea, and she went to to the hospital there, told them the problem. They checked her out, she's in good health and everything, but they couldn't get the mind to stop. So one of the incredible mediums over there sat with her and said, after spending time with her, said, well, let's see who it is. Now, as a last resort, we ask, who are you? And so this man came through and said, gave a name. He was a Chinese man. And he said, well, I want her to kill herself. You would never know why. Why would somebody do that?
Right.
Well, he said, because if she dies, I will go with her. She is a wonderful, wonderful person, and she is going into that place that they call the light, and I want to go with her, because if I leave, he said, I'm going to hell, and I am going to burn forever in hell.
Well, Betty, this entity, this Chinese guy,
the Japanese
guy, okay, clearly he was a sort of a malevolent spirit. I mean, in a way, a dark nature.
I'll tell you what he did.
But he was real smart.
Oh, right. He was mean, but he wasn't stupid.
That's right.
And he didn't want to go to hell forever.
Absolutely.
But he kept saying, no, I'm not leaving. I want her to die so that I can go with her. And finally, he said to them, I killed my father, I killed my older brother, and I killed my younger brother.
Wow.
And and I am going to go to hell
for that.
and burn forever.
Yeah.
And the medium, convinced him after a while, commiserating with him, and she contacted some lovely teachers and doctors on a higher realm, and the one she worked on, and they came and talked to him in the spirit world. They talked to the doctors, the nurses, and the patient, her daughter, and they talked to him. And the ones on the spirit side and said, if you will come with us, we will take you into a lighter place. And he did. He left, and the mother became all right. So it was a happy ever after story, but it was also one of the unique ones that they have there in the hospital. Personally, I think it would be good when people are so depressed that they would have this available to them. Now, especially in what we call the psych wards, because there is so much of this. And I remember when my sister, Reverend Nora Allen, was working in the psych unit. They sent her to Chicago to a week-long seminar, and it was supposed to be on multiple personality disorders because they had 6 patients there in the hospital. And the first thing that the distinguished major doctor who had put this together, he stood up there and he wrote on a board, "There is no such thing as possession." So my sister who is a medium, a beautiful medium, had to spend a miserable week of rhetoric and uninformed information because it was not spoken of. Now, since they had 6 what we call multiple personality disorder people, and a couple of them had what are called 100. When there are so many, they can't count, they just call them 100 multiples. And the people were wonderful people, kind and sweet people. Another thing I found out about that, because some of these people, when they were on leave, especially one beautiful junior high school teacher from Florida who was here, just lovely person, and what they were trying to do at that time is blame the daddy, blame the father.
Sure.
You remember that?
Sure, it was popular.
Yeah, it was very, very popular. And so...
They're easy targets, by the way. They've got a lot to atone for,
True.
but perhaps not everything.
No, and most of us know that daddies love their children so much, and especially, we as females love our sons, our husbands love our daughters, and we think that's good, we love that. But they spent so much time trying to get these MPDs to blame the daddy, or, I'll give you more medicine if, and of course with enough medicine, anything you tell me I'm going to repeat so I can get some more, So it was a sad situation. As a matter of fact, Nora said when the clients were admitted, she said she would say something that was not part of the protocol, but being a psychic, and she could see that people around them and so forth and what was going on with them. And like people say, "Oh, you just drive me crazy."
Yeah.
Well, sometimes it happens,
Yeah.
And so Nora would say, now, she would see on the records are suicidal.
Yeah.
But you won't do this on my shift, not on my time, not on my shift. Everyone agreed.
Wow.
She said, people that are in this kind of situation are so kind, so kind.
That's interesting.
Yes, and they wouldn't want to hurt my sister.
Yeah.
And so
Wow.
they always agreed to this. And so one Monday morning, she went to work, and this young woman I'm talking about had talked about, because I'd spent some time with her, lovely woman, and she was distraught. They said she hadn't been out of the room all weekend. Nora goes down and, what's wrong? She says another MPD had killed herself and was now in the room. She was in the room when Nora was there, but Nora didn't see her, And she said she's been she wants to come into me. And I've told her I've got enough already.
Trouble.
I've got enough trouble already, They're trying to fix me, But Nora said, so she stood there and told her, please, 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 leave her alone. She's got enough to contend with, And she did leave there, but she was wandering the hospital. Wow. So it's interesting when they say, well, you might catch something, a disease or something in the hospital. Well, Lord knows we love the hospitals. God bless the physicians, all the staff, and everybody that works in the health situation, Thank God for all of them and their wonderful hearts. But sometimes it's beyond what you have thought about.
Sure.
And at that conference that Nora went to, and she said it was the most boring week she spent, they refused to talk about it. So,
Betty, I'm surprised we're talking about it today.
I know you were a little shocked when you asked what the subject was, but...
And I believe it happens.
I've been to the hospital. Here
That's
it
right.
is. It's in the mountains of Korea.
And you knew what they had done there with this one person.
And I will be going back again next week.
Yeah.
And so I know what they do.
Yeah.
And why is it that I have to say it's in Korea? Why isn't
it here?
Why are we not aware of this? When it is your mind itself that makes you ill, as Spirit says, as the great teachers say, and Jesus, the Buddha, all of them say, as a man thinks,
so it is.
So
because you know why? Because in the United States, we don't believe what Master Jesus really said. We believe these other things that we're told about it.
Absolutely. Well, like when he said in John 10:34-36, ye are
gods, and greater things than I have done ye shall do also.
Another thing that he said too that we don't tend to quote, when he said, nobody takes my life. We talk about us nailing him to the cross, and blaming certain people for it.
And us being guilty that he did it for us.
And he
That's part of the litany.
And he says, no man takes my life.
That's right.
I lay it down.
That's right.
I will pick it up in 3 days. And he did it.
And he did
Then he says, these things I do, ye shall do it, even greater works
measure.
than these.
How can there be guilt, Betty?
Yeah.
When before he was crucified, before they came and got him, he told the disciples that this was going to happen.
Yes.
He told them that was going to happen.
Sure.
And they said, why are you going to do this? Don't do it. Leave. And he said, I am doing this. I am going unto the Father, so you will have these gifts.
Yeah.
And the Holy Spirit can come. All right? So he told right in the week before the crucifixion,
That's right.
he told
you
them,
can't do it unless I
do it.
And prove
and
it.
prove, yes.
And prove it to you.
And prove it to you. And so all the idea that he did it for our guilt, he didn't say to them.
He did it for our freedom.
For our freedom. But he didn't say, you know what? When they said, oh, Lord, Jesus, why are you doing this? Why can't you stay with us? Because these people knew him. They loved him. They loved him because he was he was real to them.
Absolutely.
And he didn't say, you know what? Matthew and Mark and Luke and John and you too, Judas, and all you other scum who is in this room around here. Although I love you, you are such worthless, terrible human beings. I mean, you have no idea really how bad you are. So the truth is, I'm going to have to die so you can go to heaven. Yeah. He had the opportunity to say that then. He didn't say it. He said, I must go unto the Father so these gifts can be yours, so the Holy Spirit can come into you. And he did it to show us that there is no such thing as death, that he overcame it. 3 days later, it's gone, and he did it.
He did it.
And he never told us we were unworthy.
Worthless.
He never told us he was doing it so because we had screwed up so bad that only his death was going to redeem us. Only by his blood were we going to get. No, he never told us that. We have told ourselves that. Yeah. And it's just tragedy.
Yeah.
One of the greatest, most remarkable. It was so remarkable, Betty, that story and that presence is all over the world now.
Well, we couldn't count the millions of people that have suffered and died and been tortured to convince them of our
unworthiness, our party line.
Right, our party line. But we do want people to know that it is good and healthy and for your future and for your life right now, if you understand that your mind is creating your life, and you don't have to go to heaven to die to go to heaven, because it's not a place like they said. And life is so very, very beautiful, but so many people do not know it. And all of the discontent that's going on, especially right now, when Jesus said, "Be still and know that I am God," he's talking about the same "I am God" that Moses was told, by what authority am I going to lead the people out of slavery in Egypt? By the authority of the I am that I am. It says in Exodus, "This is my name for all people forever. I am is my memorial name to all people." So I am healthy or I am sick. I am wealthy or I am poor. And I am is this magic wand that we have that never misses. Never loses its power.
In the Bible, it says, in the Old Testament, that we were created in the very image of God.
Right.
All right? Now, that didn't mean that he's got 5 fingers and a big nose or a little nose and blonde hair or black hair.
It means he's spirit.
He's spirit. And so we have been given. He shared with us what God is the creator of all of this.
Creative source.
The creative source. And when it says we are created in the image, we too are that creative source. And that we too create our reality.
And are responsible.
And our responsibility to it. And so I can say with truthfulness, Betty, you and I are both absolutely grateful that we no longer live in the pain and isolation and struggle that we once did.
Well, that's why we're sitting here. We don't want other folks to either.
That's right.
We just don't want people to suffer, because we have, with that blight on us.
The sense of...
Like this man, you're going to hell. Well, now, he's going to go to school for a long time.
He's going to pay and move and learn.
And you know something about Mercy Kuan Yin?
Yeah.
Who has the great temple over Beijing. Well, if you don't think that we live in a world of spirit, you should feel my throat right now.
That's right. Spirit, that's right.
I've got wonderful friends here in spirit. Everybody does, folks. Nobody comes into life alone. Everybody has a band of teachers, spirits. They've been with you before. They'll help you all this lifetime. Be happy. Don't worry, be happy.
Temple of Universality, Reverend Betty Tatalajski. And if you're in Tucson, 11 o'clock, corner of Country Club and Prince at the Masonic Temple, there's another way. There's another way.
A better way.
A better way.